Everyone has something to share, in either wisdom, story, or logic. And it's clearly amazing to hear all the differing missing links discovered by people, unique to their own journeys, and in how they have come to discover them. Together, we can help to build a bigger picture for a better future, for a brighter tomorrow. Let's stand united. Let's remove the veils, and let's create a new world together. Are you that missing link? Join Jesse Hale on the Missing Link Talk Show as he helps to unveil the mystery through the unique wisdom and store of others.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome everybody here back to the Missing Link. Today we're excited and honored to have someone who was a carpenter for 30 years before she got into working with a bunch of different groups. She's helping like a child trafficking advocate, and she's here to share her story. Welcome to the Missing Link, Debbie Evershed. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thanks, Jess. Yeah, not that much of an impressive bio but you do learn a lot as a carpenter when it comes to a litmus test of the people. But it also makes you very, very curious. And that's what got me involved in all these groups. So it started off with my father told me as a child that the laws of thermodynamics are incorrect. And he said he called it work multiplication. So you can get more energy out than you put in. And when I got older, took it to universities and they were not interested. And I just didn't understand why at the time. Fast forward a few years and I met Sasha Stone, who I know you know because I used to set up interviews with you and him back in the day. And obviously the wealth of knowledge I learned from that man when it comes to media and life and the whole debt-based slavery system, the satanic ritual cults, just such a vast array of knowledge. But energy was always the passion, and trafficking just got me to the core. It just hit me so hard. I helped Sasha Stone set up the International Tribunal for Natural Justice in 2018, and he held a court in Westminster where people flew in from all around the world. There's no ways they could have known each other, collaborated, conspired, and they just gave their testimony, and it was a court of witness. And it was 3 days of listening to those testimonies. Gosh, this still chokes me up when I just really think back deep into it. I sold my house, I sold my car, got rid of everything, and I just said, I want to be on service, and this has to stop on my watch on planet Earth. No fucking way is this going to go on. And then I got how it was all connected to law and finance and energy, in that they use this evilness, this as blackmail and bribery, and they promote it in order to create a class of people that will comply, or they are compromised into it, because there's nothing worse than what they are doing to our children in the basement. There's nothing worse. I kept thinking, oh my God, this has got to be the worst thing ever that they can do to a human. And you just come to the conclusion, there's so many, they're all so bad, and it's so dark, and it's obvious why people don't want to look into it. But it's absolutely necessary, because you have to know your enemy in order to defeat your energy. That comes from the art of war. And you have to know yourself as well. And so that for me has been a 7-8 year journey now. I'm now working more on the tech side and with trafficking, because once this quantum technology, in order for it to surface and stop being suppressed, child trafficking has to end. That's the first step. It's nothing more important than that. And when you know about the energy as well, and everything being frequency and vibration, you know that whole genre of SRA keeps the whole frequency of humanity really low, and it creates a spin-off of many people that are damaged or affected by it. If you end up in a relationship with someone that was brought up in one of these families or that has been affected mentally by one of these families. And then, of course, we've got all the toxins. So I jump around a bit. So, in order to explain this to my loved ones, I came up with something called the Exemplar Earth Directory, which is still in its infancy, but I broke it down. I'll see if I can do a screen share. I broke it down into the different controlling components.
Present is the screen share, the one with the little picture of a TV and a plus sign.
Yeah. Share screen. I just don't know what if I press share screen, what you're going to see straight off the bat. Let's try it. Live a little. Oh gosh. I did have this set up. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I got it on another. Well, let's just go to the exemplar landing page. No.
Well, I can bring that page up if you'd like.
Have you got this? This is one of 15, so it's absolutely not the one I intended. But never mind. This is Join the Evolution, connecting sovereign beings for creative expansion, expensive outcomes for all. So that lovely picture on the right there is my sister's artwork, Jane Nevershed. It's one of the many beautiful paintings she does. And it's this directory, it's a tribute to all the truthers like yourself that are working 24/7. I saw it with Sasha as well, for very little return and totally getting targeted and rocks up the head from both sides and censored, yet still forging through to get this information out there. Incredible doctors that have lost their licenses in order to tell the truth about the difference between germ theory and terrain theory and true healing. So anyway, let me just go back to this. So yeah, functional health practitioners, growers and producers of quality foods, retreats, services, and all those that embrace sovereignty and expansion and to network and connect with each other. And it's really because this was a stark realization that to end this, it is only up to us. We got to stop asking permission from governments. We've got to stop asking corporations to change. Where you spend your money is the company you're supporting. It's not what you ask, say, sign, it's what you do. So it's about consciousness in action. And it is up to us. So these first three, clean energy solutions, it's all about frequency and vibration. They want to control energy, as Henry Kissinger put it. Data and finance, that's not financial advice, but BSV has the largest block sizes, and Bitcoin definitely has its place in the transition into sovereignty from this one world order trajectory they're trying to hone us towards. And then we can have earth abundance if we have clean air, soil, and structured water. I mean, Bill Gates is trying to buy up lands, all the lands with a lot of water. Pardon me. In the States, they wanted to charge you for collecting rainwater in some states, which is absurd. And going back to data and finance, they want to control you digital IDs. So there's a clone of us that they can control digitally. So not only are they doing 15-minute cities, but they can actually lock you down in your home and control you through credit scores like they do in China. The mechanisms they're using for the top three are the media, which is pure propaganda, and spirituality, as I said, about the vibration, and then true law as opposed to UCC sovereignty law. So those are the kind of tricks they've played with us. And here, So I've called them the survival essentials, and this is the debt-based slavery system we're currently in. And so the quantum energy is being suppressed. Finance and data, they want to control us with credit scores and sell us basically with using our birth certificate. And then with air, soil, and water, they're putting chemtrails, GMOs, glyphosates, fluoride in the water, and it's toxins. They know about germ theory. It's a good business model if we get sick and go to them for drugs, though. And they use the law they use is Black's Law Dictionary, where we're a dead fiction because nobody has authority over a living soul apart from your creator, whoever you choose that to be. And that makes sense with me. It resonates. I like it. Then obviously the media is all lies and propaganda. And then as opposed to this contrast is survival essentials for sovereignty and freedom. So you've got your clean energy, which we can go into a bit more, where I've seen leachate. It's the most toxic water on planet Earth be cleaned and separated from all toxins with just sound and vibration. It's phenomenal. No chemicals are required, but where's the money in that? I've seen gas, petrol made out from plastic, rubber tires, and then it can be cleaned and upgraded and used as jet fuel. I've seen magnetic motors that you just comes in a box, one wire out, plugs into your house, 24/7, 5 megawatts. You've just got instantly. Just oil a few ball bearings and check it every now and then, and you're good to go. And that same technology could power a city or an island or a country. So we have the technology. The greenwashing about wind and solar is just costing us a fortune, and it's money down a black hole. It's not effective at all. It's detrimental, in fact. And people don't even know when they go on about green energy, the percentage of carbon in the atmosphere that they're worried about. It's 0.04%. Go down to 0.02% and you start losing plant life. And that's when they really get control of the old lab meat burgers, and the food supply. That's when they really got you by the jugular.
So it's not even 1%, it's not 0.5%, it's 0.04%. And so it's less than 0.5%, and humans are responsible for 11% of that 0.5%. So even if humans went to zero, it makes no difference on the whole entire Earth scale. In our country, Canada, we're only responsible for 1.5% of the 11%. But we also have so much trees that we're actually carbon positive, and we actually take in more. And that's the whole reason why they're causing all these forest fires, because they're saying, oh, look how much carbon we're emitting and we're the second highest taxed behind France. France is number 1, Canada's number 2 on how much carbon tax we're taxed. And we actually are carbon positive. We actually help the carbon in the atmosphere, and we're taxed the highest. So I've done quite a bit of study into that as well.
It's phenomenal. And you'll find they'll start a forest fire with the direct weapons, and it'll be along a planned, just like they did in Haiti. It's along a planned route where they want to build a railway line or set up their own little gig there without getting permission for the land and the land use. Oh, just burn it. They've been doing that for centuries. And yeah, they don't care about the the greenwashing. The plan is to keep us in this debt-based slavery. I think they see that we're waking up. They know we've got this access to these energy systems, and that'll be maybe 2 years before they are actually manufactured and out there. Some of them already they're all market ready and have been for ages. But the companies go through corporate sabotage and just so many trips and traps and interlopers that are inserted into the picture to create chaos. I've seen it so many times. I've seen it from when I was a kid with my father to the guy I'm working with now and Sasha. I've seen it with everyone that's worked in this industry. They really want to not let us have it and get out of this debt-based slavery into one of credit and clean energy and structured water where we're all really healthy and we don't need their drugs, you know, their poisons.
Yeah,
So and then
the allopathic drugs, which is oil based, which is benzene.
yeah,
Benzene is causing toxic havoc on all of our bodies, and yet all of their medications have benzene in them. And that's a big problem for if you want to be healthy. You don't want benzene, you don't want oil. We're not a car. We don't need petrol inside of us to run, yet they can't stop putting it inside of us.
yeah, our natural fuel is structured water. Heaven help, they should give us that. I see you had Robert O. Young on your show recently.
Yes, we did.
He's an amazing man. I've met him, and that drinking bicarb, it's when I went on the Arise USA tour with Sasha, all I had was my little jar of bicarb. And every time I felt a little bit rough, warm water, teaspoon of bicarb, and I was fine throughout the whole of COVIDiocy. And hugging people, talking in crowds, you know, not wearing a mask and vaccinating, obviously. It's just so demonic when you really know how it could be, and the tiptoe tyranny that they've had to do to get here. It's all engineered. There are no accidents. It's all engineered. And even the wars, I mean, there's earth, and then move on to spirituality, soul, which is probably an area which is popping for me right now, where it comes to child trafficking, working with peace officers, and then there's the Constitution Constabulary, what are they? From Terror Corps, the Constitution Constabulary. Let's see, there's a few organizations that you can connect with, the peacekeepers, peace officers, and the constitutional officers from an organization called Terror Corps. And that's all about the law and how it connects to stopping child trafficking using true law. And that's what's happening at the moment. The people are standing up and using their own law because have you heard of a guy called Gary Waterman?
Yes, I've heard the name.
So he's a UK ex-police officer from Dorset, and he's gone through Companies House and exposed so many crimes, so many fake companies, going right up the chain to Rishi Sunak MPs globally. And he's astounded, well, he was for a while, he knows now, at how little traction his emails have been getting. As a police officer, he's investigated, presented hard evidence, and it's all connected to trafficking, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein Island, and royalty. It's all connected within 2 or 3 jumps from Companies House and companies that are also involved in a case that I was quite closely involved in the Isle of Wight, trying to get one of the kids back. I've met the grandmother, lovely woman, absolutely capable of keeping her granddaughter. And nobody's listening. Nobody is listening. If somebody took evidence of a child to the system that we've taken to them, they would be on it so fast. But in the reverse, we've taken evidence of bruising in inappropriate places, looking drugged, potential needle marks from injections, because she knows what to look for, because we know their MO now. And then connecting that organization with Gary Waterman's work and how it leads back to Ghislaine Maxwell, it's very, very concerning, but police don't seem to be concerned. So at the moment, we're building our troops to go and do it ourselves. Citizens arrests. They're training people on true law, hoping for it to be done peacefully. But it's so big. Where do you even begin? You got to work top down and bottom up.
Has Gary been investigated? You know, they seem to try to turn the tables on the people doing the investigations and then try to smear them and make them look like they're bad. Have you heard about that at all?
Well, Gary's pretty wise in that he's living remotely in his van, kind of on the run, more or less, because that's how you have to live if you're going to be exposing this. And he's put all his documentation out there. And he says, even if I do go down, the documents are still out there. So that's his best protection, is getting more and more crowd swell. There's a point in this game where you can be a target if you're too small, but when you suddenly get really big, you're almost too much of a big target, because there's no point in taking you out. They'll just make a martyr of you, prove your point, but the information he's got is already out there. So that's his freedom, you know.
Well, if you got a link up with him, then maybe we should bring him on the missing link to get out to more people.
Absolutely. I know he's inundated with links with things at the moment. I'd love to get him on the show. I have mentioned it to him, and he's going through his emails slowly. I'll definitely get him on the show. I think I put one of his links in my email to you, possibly to add.
Yeah, we have it in the comments. It's a link to his YouTube channel.
Yeah. I mean, Rumble's probably better. Right. So this was an example for Energy, Exemplar Earth Directory. I just wanted to speak about wind turbines and Max Eigen. I mean, we can't have two hours just on child trafficking. Sorry, Jess.
It's okay.
We got to jump it up around a bit, because it's what not only is it the glue that keeps all the corruption together, but it's also really hard for people to listen to that level of abhorrentness of dystopia for so long. I like to caveat with some good stuff and solutions.
Totally. And we've had Max Egan on our show probably 3 times. We were going to have him on, but he's traveling right now. We were going to have him on again, but he's traveling right now. So we'll be reaching out to him to get him on the show again soon.
It's brilliant. I mean, this little clip here, I don't know if I could play it or not, but he's talking to a whistleblower in Australia that just says, sure, they're turbines, they're not windmills. So they use power to turn when they're switched on. And then they pick up a bit of extra power from the wind, send it down the line back to the power plant. Power plant can't calibrate it, and it goes up in steam. And I've seen wind turbines, and near them I've seen piles of steam going up in the air. I mean, that's got to add to the excess rain we're having, I'm sure, that we're paying for, apart from the chemtrails.
Well, don't you think all the vehicles should be run on like saltwater, ocean water? If all the energy was run by water, and then what came out of the engine was just water vapors, like they try to say that's in the airplanes, could you imagine? Then all of a sudden the air, the environment, the ecosystem would have an abundance of water up into the clouds, so it would rain normally again, like, because now it doesn't even rain like it's hardly ever rains anymore, and they're wanting those droughts. They wanting to control the food supply, and it seems like whatever it is, whatever it is that they're doing with all these toxic petrochemicals and spraying the air, it's changing the ecosystem. And then they're saying there's climate change and it's people, but it's their technologies that are forced upon the people, and then yet they want to make the people suffer because of that, when they're squashing all the other alternative energies, free energies, because they don't have any control over free energy.
That's HARP. They do control that weather, absolutely. And in the UK here, we've just been swamped with rain. I think they've sent it all here. So much so that they're talking about food shortages next season because they've just drowned out the crops, a lot of the crops. So yeah, they're messing with the weather. It's not going to work out well for them. But that the power of planet Earth and the strength of nature to clean itself, and they have to really battle every day at poison, toxin, scheming, planning. We just got to let it go and walk away and not comply, and then it falls away. We could just got to stop spending coin in these companies that are doing that. But in order to do that, we need to know who they are. Thanks to Gary Waterman, we're going to have a better idea. And the problem with that is it's pretty much everywhere and everything, so almost impossible to avoid in its entirety. But because of that, we've got organizations setting up like TerraCora and the New Earth Haven and little communities. There's one in Portugal that are going to flourish. People, I think, will flock to them and start putting their sweat equity and monetary value into those systems. And this one will drop as soon as we've got our own energy and we're not dependent upon them.
I just have to address this comment from Reefer. Says burning oil is not harmful. It is 100% harmful. It's a mass spell they've put on people. Even though they said oil is the second most abundant liquid on Earth besides, it shouldn't be burning. The oil that they burn, what happens if you go into your garage and close all the doors and keep your car running? You die. Imagine, so what do you mean it's not harmful? You die. Imagine billions of cars putting oil into the deadly carbon toxins that come from the actual engines. Imagine billions going into our ecosystem. What's that causing? And then they use that oil to make plastics aren't biodegradable. They use that oil to make pesticides, and that pesticides are poisoning us. It's poisoning the oceans, poisoning our waterways, poisoning the oil spills are poisoning everything. So burning oil is one of the most destructive things that this earth has ever had, and it has to be stopped. We have other means of clean energy, not the dirty oil, which causing all the destruction that it's causing.
Absolutely, we don't need to burn oil, but it's just that oligarchs that want it so. It's $1 trillion industry. They don't want to rock that boat, and they don't care about the planet. It's coming back to this worshipping the money god as well. Who is it? Larry Fink owns 88% of S&P Fortune 500 companies, has CEOs. So when you get someone who's a bad actor that has so much control over all these top CEOs to bring in things like this gender, it doesn't matter if you're the right color and the right gender, go fly the plane. Equality, it's not equality. It's not even the way they use the word equality. I don't want to be the same as a man, and the man shouldn't have to be the same. It's not equal. Equality is looking at somebody's own needs, which are all different, and equally giving them what they need, not all the same. That's my little bugbear when they talk about equality and inclusion. They want to include you in one little box, and you're all included in that box. But inclusion is actually your own inclusion. A woman might have more childcare needs, or a young kid's going to have more activity requirements, male or female. It's just different requirements is our quality and inclusivity. Not having the same job with the same money. That's kind of doesn't work for me. It's not about the money. It's about the value of our sweat equity or our sweat energy. It's about our frequency, what we bring to the table so far as positive and creative energy and thoughts, because it's our emotions that manifest. And so I went through a stage where I called myself, well, I still do, tried to aspire to be a qualitarian, because it's quality water, quality thoughts, quality food, just the best quality you can get in the now. And that we need energy for, clean energy. I'm sorry, I really am jumping all over.
It's
See
all
what
good.
you
I
can
like
do.
how you have Terrence Howard there. He's brilliant. I'd hope to one day be able to have him on our show as well.
Oh, Terrence Howard, yes. It's up there with Nassim Harriman. And actually, talking of energy, before I go on to this finance slide, the guy I'm working with now, he wrote into the United Nations for the Stanley Myers car. He wrote the methodology for the Stanley Myers car into United Nations, and they accepted it, so they know we can run cars on water. A friend of mine's father drove a test car run on water because he used to work for Ford many years ago. The car companies know we can do this. The UN knows we can do this. And we know we can do it, and they know we know. So let's just run cars on water rather than batteries. Heaven help if they've. That's one thing I'd like to have a conversation with Elon Musk, or my friend to have a conversation with Elon Musk, Eric. Why is he focusing on car batteries when there's all this other technology available?
Because his CIA contracts tell him he needs to do that.
Well, exactly. He needs to, if he's the one that bucks the trend and he's all for free speech, what about free energy and all?
Again, he's just another person in the show, puppet in the show, and he's following his orders of the people that put him there. And
Yes.
really he could break away, but that's how would they kill him if he did? So again, he may be stuck because of how he got to where he got to.
Yes, a lot of them are compromised in big ways. So I just wanted to quickly mention about finance and data so we don't get choked with these CBDCs coming in, this digital financial nightmare that they want to impose upon us. First of all, they've got to break us and financially make us so dependent upon them, then they can launch it because we'll need it. There'll be no other way to get food if we lose cash and alternative banking system. So this is really good. The quantum legacy. Have you heard of this? Investments for Humanity.
No, I haven't.
It's recently launched. Well, no, it's not even launched yet. It's going to launch by the end of the month, probably, but very imminently. This is their new logo. They've got banks. They've got a whole pitch deck. So they transform the lives for millions of families, tools for fulfilling life, distribution of benefits to the community, technology for global reach, and own currencies and NFTs backed by real assets. What's different about this? It's a bank, it's a financial institution, a foundation, and an organization. It's kind of covers a lot of systems in order to reach every sector of community. It comes from the heart and they don't want to leave anyone behind. Really beautiful, amazing people. They've already given $1 billion to a group in Europe for health and education. So they're not small. Active members, they're in over 90 countries at the moment. This is pre-registered global community, of which I'm one. I've pre-registered. I can't wait for them to expand. And they're very much about the social and humanitarian environment and, industrial projects. And they invest in real backed assets. So all their assets and their coins are backed by real gold. Crypto license in Lithuania. They've local investment companies and projects, financial institution and bank licenses. So they are really the financial. I find one of the many few financial solutions that is in the system and out of the system. It's almost central and decentralized, so it can reach everybody. I mean, if somebody can access the NFTs and the online and get their head around that, but they don't have a bank account, they use MoneyGram and they can draw cash out of that. And they put money in your account as well. They don't just take. So this is not the name, they're calling it USX. And 3 different user wallets. The GoldX and the USX wallet, the rewards wallet, and the community wallet. So it's really complex. Let me get back to. Oops. How do I stop screen sharing?
Yeah, I got it off.
You got it off, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'm back on. Sorry, that was jumping around a bit, but it's just all very connected to the glue of human trafficking. And it all has to be addressed. And I've found people are specialists in certain areas, but in order to bring them all together, the energy and the financial quantum stuff and the truth and information with the importance of it with our child and trafficked children and trafficking and the spiritual soul side of it, it's all so connected. And when we get that and realize how important it is to raise our frequency to that level, then we win. That's it. We take positive conscious action and we win.
Now, what have you seen in the last 7 years? Has there been a decrease in the child trafficking? Has there been an increase? Has just been more awareness on what's going on? Like, what have you seen since the 7 years since you've been, seeing what it is?
I have seen that this is the first time in 7 years it's actually gaining traction, real traction with the public. We've had the Sound of Freedom, we've had the ITNJ testimonies. They're still online, commission.itnj.org. You can watch those testimonies there. And we've had the Gary Waterman exposure. We've had John Wedger come out and say loads of stuff. So the people I think it's almost like a shock, you get paralyzed for a while while you digest the magnitude of it and the evilness of it, and it takes a little while to process. And now people are coming out fighting, and they've got bags of evidence, just bags and bags of evidence, and it's falling on dead ears because they're all involved. So then the penny's dropping, right? We got to do this. There's no one coming to save us. The military, the police, the MPs, they're compromised. We are many. So when we unite and all sign up to become a common law constable or to become a peace officer or a peacekeeper and stand under true law, know true law, because if you don't know law, there is no law. They can just railroad you, say what they like, and you have to comply because you don't know. So it's really important. That's the reason I want to put it all in a directory, so it's easy referenceable. Got all the documents for the law, you got all the documents for the energy. And although loads of people know, there's still loads of people that are just too busy to even look. And if you don't know what you don't know, you don't know what you're looking for. So it's kind of like just nudging people here and look over there. There's a little signpost. And people also don't like to look into the dark for too long and to all the problems because it's draining. Or it can be.
So you lived in South Africa from the time you were 5 to 19. What was that like?
Wow. It was such a beautiful country. I thanked my mom for having me when we got there. It's like, wow, sunshine and freedom and bare feet and grounding and building tree houses and go-karts. It was great fun. I really probably one of the last generations to live that close to the land, and play with tadpoles and frogs and snakes and as normal. Well, yeah, it's getting like that. The kids nowadays, they're just on the screens. If they're out running around in the garden, they get diagnosed with ADHD or something, get filled up.
They sure have been keeping Africa poor. Some people feel that, it was the, infiltration of South Africa, which has helped to keep, the Africans poor, to under control. They say if the Africa stays poor, the world could stay wealthy. And there's such an imbalance on what's going on there. What's your thoughts on some of the new leaders who are trying to break away from the imperial control over Africa?
This is the same everywhere. The governments aren't listening and they're controlled. And they are trying to, I've heard some good things come out of South Africa, people trying to stand up and arrest governments. And I've heard that they're trying to do that in America as well and here in the UK. It's like Israel and Hamas. Israel created Hamas. They create wars. They fund both sides. It doesn't matter who's in it. Doesn't matter if you're black or white or male or female or trans or gay, or as long as you toe the party line, at the party line, the one world order agenda. And that for that you'll get bribed or you'll get blackmailed or you'll just get coerced in it, or you won't get the position. So it's the Klaus Schwabs that need to go, and the Bill Gates that need to go, not us.
There was some people reporting, from a Rumble channel that, Klaus Schwab got arrested. Did you ever hear about that? And what's your thoughts on, we're that far ahead that some of these top players of maybe being arrested and or imprisoned and or even, executed? There's lots of rumblings in the underground to try to give people hopium. I'm just wondering what your thoughts on that are.
Well, you hit it with the word hopium. That's great if they're getting arrested, brilliant, but make it on the mainstream news, because it's almost like it doesn't matter if they get arrested because it's their reach, it's their brand that the people are stuck on or dream spelled towards. It's almost like they're irrelevant. It's their brand that's being pushed, their modus operandi that's being. When that stops, then I'm happy. A lot of it is hopium. I mean, people say Robert David Steele's still alive. I don't believe he is. And I was on tour with him during the Arise USA tour. As far as Klaus Schwab, I mean, it is just hopium. Show me the evidence. Just show me the evidence. Is it real? And who's taken his place? And is who going to still exist? I mean, take out who or period. I think maybe there has been a lot of high-level arrests, and why aren't they just talking about it then? Why don't they take
Yeah,
out the media airwaves and say?
doesn't make any sense, right? Like, we want all this stuff when they hear these things. Great. Yeah, that's exactly what we want and need. But then yet they're still pushing the carbon scam. They're still pushing the jabs. They're still pushing, the old world order. People are trying to say, oh, it's the new world order. It's the old world order. They've never stopped. They try to, con people into thinking it's some new world order that they want when it's the old world order that's been in place for a very, very long time. And they just don't want people to be aware that they already are under the old world order or new world order. This isn't nothing new for them.
Yep. It's a debt-based slavery system, and it always has been. Slavery never went away. They say follow the money when you want to find out what's going on, but money's not the motivation. They're after our kids. They're after our sweat equity and our children. Money they can print. Us they want to control, and our babies they want to drink the blood off and eat and rape. And I mean, a child will expire at the age of 3 when they can't be abused anymore, and they will die, expire. Pregnant women, they just, the more sickening it is, the more. I've heard that they're dead inside, and it's the only way they can feel anything because they're soulless.
Well, we had here Edward from our, Facebook, and thanks again for, the love and support there, brother. He says they aren't human. And, what's your thoughts on these entities that are doing this here because they're so dead inside? They are soulless. How could anyone do this to children or to humanity or to our earth? Could they be, non-human entities? Could they be these Draco reptilians? Could they be from other places that came here to infiltrate?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that they are. Well, I'm really sure there's more than humans on planet Earth, including giants and entities that live underground. And as far as these devils go, well, they're human hybrids, maybe, in order to get into positions that they're in. And you know about Project Paperclip and the MK Ultra mind control and all of that. I think some of them are spin-offs really, really fucked up from that program. But I mean, have you heard of Ronaldo Bernard?
Yeah. Didn't
So
they recently kill him?
I hadn't heard that. I did hear he had a near-death experience, met his maker, and came back and couldn't do what he was doing before, which was a lot of evil things for the banks. So, they start out as human and then maybe get evil and then half die and suddenly connect with source again. And maybe some of them are not human. I mean, how can George Soros or Klaus Schwab be human? I just don't know. And Fauci, they can't do that without and have a human strand in them. But mind you, I did remember watching something a long time ago where they can actually target a section of your brain that takes out empathy.
Yeah, where that came about was from the military industrial complex. They said to stop Islamic fundamentalism. So they wanted to target the God gene, where people have this, gene, this empathy, this God place. So that way, if they could spray these chemicals over the Islamic, extremists, then they thought that they wouldn't have that, need to try to kill, for their god or whatever, right? So I think that that's where it comes from, them taking out that empathy or, that god gene.
Yeah, they certainly know how to mess with your DNA and your mind and your frequency. But then again, And I always like to caveat when I have these dark things are coming at me. It's like we need to remember we are the best AI, which is angel intelligence. And it absolutely surpasses all of their bullshit. And that's another reason they don't want us to know how powerful we are. Have you seen the video of those kids reading blindfolded?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in quite a few countries, but there's one close by here in Essex, Nicola Farmer, and yeah, they've got these little kids with thick blind. I bought some mindfolds. It's pitch black, and they're just reading books and playing ball. And then at the end of the call, when I was speaking to her, I said, it's really amazing what you're doing for the children. I feel almost ripped off. I wasn't taught all this as a child. And thank you. And she said, that's just the caveat. That's just the cherry on top. I said, what do you mean? She said, when that child takes their heart space home, they can heal families, they can end divorces. Children are so powerful in their natural state, and we squash that out of them as they get older. And everything is very left brain orientated, whereas right brain is the creative, expansive side. And then when you get the two hemispheres of the brain into balance, that's when you can do this projection. And so they've definitely worked on our left brain, right brain imbalances as well.
100%. And that banker I put in, Ronald Bernard, did he die? And there's 17.2 million posts related to him found dead, but I can't find any other article about it. So there's lots of stuff that gets circulated, that people think are actual and factual that isn't true. So I just heard again, probably from one of those posts, that he died, but didn't actually dig into that. Just like when other people in this conspiracy world, they'll make a video of something happening and everybody believes it to be true, whether it's true or not. They just share that information out. They feel it's true. The spell that they're put under makes them repeat what they want to be true, but they don't actually have any actual factual evidence of it being true, but yet they believe it in their heart because someone made a video about it, or a couple of people made a video, and then they actually think that that's what actually happened.
Yeah, a lot of that is engineered as well. You'll get CIA people and bots putting out and doing stuff, or controlling people to say get hold of someone like Sasha. He doesn't fall for it, but or yourself or someone, you wouldn't fall for it, but an upcoming journalist, spin them a lie and let them run with it, and it just takes up space and bandwidth, time. It's just misinformation, distraction. What can we do to stop child trafficking? I'm so glad I saw that question pop up. Reefa 17, become a peace officer, join a group. Exposure is one of the, sorry, I just saw this question, and it is what can we do to stop child trafficking? Got to find out a lot more about the problem, watch the testimonies, find out how they operate, join a group, and then we start arresting them, because it's mostly government and institutions and CEOs that are doing this. And speak about it, highlight it, shine the light on it, because where the light shines, the shadows shift.
You're in the UK. Chuck the Turd just had a portrait done of him, and it looks like he's like some demon. What's the rumblings of the people in the UK about that's his like first official portrait, looking like he just came out of hell?
Can't say the English talk about royalty much these days. Yeah. Well, certainly not in my circles. It does look like a demonic picture. He's coming out the closet as a demon.
Well, he was proud of being related to Vlad Dracul or Dracula, like, and he bought the Dracula castle, and some people have said they've saw like children coming out of there, and like, so that's pretty bizarre stuff if that's true.
The castle in Romania.
Yeah.
I actually visited that. It's yeah, I just visited as a tourist. So I wasn't looking for anything sinister, but yeah, it's just like Dracula's castle.
Did it feel dark there?
Well, it's made to feel dark as well, and there were lots of little narrow staircases, and it did seem dark, but that was open to the tourists. What's underneath it is probably more relevant. The bits we didn't see, the
Yeah.
cornered off rooms.
What's your thoughts on the Vatican and how they play a role in all this? Some people say all roads lead to Rome, and then they say, oh, well, Rome fell, and didn't they just become, the Catholic Church?
Yeah, the Vatican. Have you seen the Pope's throne? It's a really evil-looking Medusa kind of artifact. I think the Vatican's dead and gone. It's the whole religion of Christianity has been so warped and twisted and engineered to control. It's not worth. It has the Bible has a few nuggets of truth and goodness in it, but what's been taken out is probably the most important stuff. But I think our connection to source is the main thing, without getting lost in the religions. And I mean, the Vatican, what didn't it start off as becoming a bank that couldn't be audited, and it was the popes that started all the killing and pillaging of all the countries under Catholicism.
Some very dark roots.
It is. What is it? The doctrines of discovery. The doctrines of discovery that gave them permission to pillage and kill all brown, yellow, red-skinned people.
Sounds more like the doctrine of demons.
Yeah, Homo animalis they were referred to as, and that still, I believe, needs to be changed and addressed. And they go on about equality and race and all of that. They need to look a little closer to home. It's what's written in the text, these ancient documents that they were probably their ancestors were probably a part of.
So this quantum financial system, you see that quantum bank. Some people are still skeptical of it, just because the state of the world, the way it's in, they're still spraying the skies. These people say, well, but quantum is in control. But if it's in control and genocide still happening in Palestine, like none of the stuff actually makes a lot of sense, about what's happening. Like this is bizarro Twilight Zone world that we're living in. And it seems like people are living in different realities.
Wow, absolutely correct. And there will be a time where the bifurcation comes and that some people will stay in this system. I think the ones that subscribe to fear more will stay in this system and CBDs and carry on as they were. And then you'll get another section of the people that are going to move out into communities and start going organic and trying to bring in the new sovereignty. And we're at a very exciting time of transition right now. And the bifurcation, can't you really see it? It's happening. There's even families. I mean, you still love them, but you're in a different world completely, a different bubble.
I've been in the different bubble for 30 plus years, but I, can never, separate from them. And they've never, even though I've tried to convince them about all the stuff that's going on, and, you can see the smirks happening,
Yeah.
like, that's, I I don't ever see a separation, right? I don't see that. I can't ever feel like that's going to be a reality, because they're still under a spell. And I think that, I have hope that one day the spell is going to be lifted from people, and that, we will be able to come back together as people once again.
I see that going apart and then the unifying, coming together again, because I think we need to go apart, and we truthers need the space and time to bring all this good stuff in, the energy, the true law, the powerful angel intelligence of humanity, the truth, media, history. We need a little time to bring all that in, and it's with all this misinformation being chucked into the pot as well, it can get very confusing. And that was another reason I want to work on this directory, to just bring some clarity to that. I mean, even trying to break it down and talk about it, I'm still all over the place. But at least if you've got a directory, you can refer back to it, and you can jump around. But it is a separation there, and it will come together, and it has to come together as sovereignty, or else it's going to be a one world order. It's just going to be, lockdown control, communism. We are slaves. We're selling our 12-year-old daughters to go and feed the family, which is how it is in some communist countries already. And that's the steps they want, artificial wombs, men having babies in artificial wombs. They already got the artificial wombs. They've already done these eugenics. There's just their wet dream to get it out there, and this satanic controlling humanity, being the god. And no, no, it's horrific. But the things, the people that don't see that or don't know that where it's headed, it's like lemmings flying over the cliff. They're just running in that direction, and they're going to end up in the ditch.
Can't all the people that want that sadistic, that type of reality be all like shipped to China or wherever? It seems like they have that, and all the good people are allowed to leave China and come to the rest of the world, and they could just leave the rest of the world alone. And if they want to have their insanity, they're all just there, and leave the rest of the world out. Like, if that type of splitting of society, I don't know how many and how big of land that they actually need. I think there's more of them that fit on some island somewhere where they could go inject themselves all they want and do whatever that they want to themselves and their own, families or whatever. But, they just want the whole world is the problem. And that's why, there's many of us that are standing up, because we won't let them, to destroy our part of the world.
The thing is, Jess, we're all one. That devil is us. We've permissioned it. We're all connected in source. We're all one. That's the blessing and the curse almost of the whole thing, because I'd hate to align myself with these evil people. At the same time, some of them probably really been harmed and engineered that way, or programmed or toxified into that. The ones that, like the Klaus Schwabs, I think they should just be underground, 6 foot, gone. I
And
also believe that when humanity really raises its frequencies and gets the value of always looking for a better thought, always looking for the better feeling in everything, and we raise they can't exist in the right frequency. Something Dr. Robert Young said as well. He said, flies don't create the rubbish. They go to the rubbish when the rubbish is there. The environment, we create the environment, and the beauty happens around it. We manifest either on purpose or unconsciously. At the moment, we're manifesting unconsciously. When we start doing it consciously, being aware of our frequency, our thoughts, our vibrations, what we're eating, thinking, drinking, doing, saying, it changes a lot, inside and externally.
you help one, you help us all. You harm one, you harm us all. And as long as there are still people being harmed, then it's all of our problems.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you put them on an island, those kids are going to breed, they're going to have beautiful little babies. I don't want to subject even their babies to what they're doing to kids now. You know, no babies. It just has to be a cause no harm and cause no loss. And don't push your will on anybody else. That's sovereignty 101.
Back to natural law.
Yeah, nature expands, it grows. It assists, you know, the trees give the birds homes, and it all works symbiotically, and we need to be part of that whole symbiotic system. And the money god has to go. Obviously there has to be a currency and a system of value, but it doesn't have to be in that. If we don't have this paper stuff that they print that we can't eat and we die, it can't be like that. Or we can't fight back when they take our children because they're not giving us this paper stuff that they print. They want wars for orphans. They want to keep us down and suppressed so that they can take our kids, control us with our, you know, we starve to death if they think so. Africa, France controls North Africa, a lot of North Africa, Ivory Coast. And they've been supplying the French with all their wealth, and the whites in South Africa. Africa is a very big continent, a very wealthy continent. And if it was managed a lot better, there'd be such abundance. We can turn deserts into oases with this technology. We can grow anything anywhere. We can structure water for nothing, next to nothing. We are the value. That's my point.
We are the true currency of this earth, not no other monetary, value that they put. And I think that if things were abundant, if there was abundance for all, if everybody had all of their needs met, we wouldn't have, the drug epidemics. We wouldn't have the chaos. We wouldn't have the thefts. Why would anyone steal anything if everything was abundant? You could just have what you needed. And I think that balance has to come back into system where there is abundance for all. And then you don't need any type of monetary scorecard, because you're just able to, attain anything that you want here, because, basically we should be able to have at least what we need here. And then, the wants, I'm sure that, that can be kept into balance as long as that doesn't get too crazy out of hand.
Absolutely. Coming out of the debt base into a credit system is absolutely the answer. And in one foul swoop, it takes away their control. They're not sitting on the coin anymore and like throwing us crumbs to do little jump higher, jump is a few more crumbs. Go over there, throw it, 15 minutes. The way they dress everything up, that you get really intelligent people believing it's a good thing. That's what astounds me. And then, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
When you try and when you try and explain your point of view, they get emotional rather than come up with a solid answer. Oh, can you just? Oh, someone's knocking at the door, I think.
Yeah, I can hang on. I'll just talk to the people, go through some comments.
One sec, sorry.
All good. B11 says, do no loss, injury, or harm, but take no shit. Yeah, exactly. Reefer says, Psalms 127:3, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Oh, and I saw an earlier one here. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone was hung around his neck and he was thrown into the sea. So there are some words of wisdom, in the book. If everybody respected everybody else, there would be a whole lot less trouble.
Absolutely.
Scarcity is an illusion. Of course it is. It's manufactured scarcity in order for them to control the masses and get them acting like asses, and you targeting each other for this false illusion. That interest was never even, this was against the law. Usury was against religious law. It's like, but
Absolutely.
yet what's happening right now, the interest on these loans have gotten so crazy that nothing could ever be paid back. And it just seems like an ongoing debt, system. And it's very trauma based.
You seen these?
Which is that?
It's a gold-backed Nevada note.
No, I haven't. That's really cool. Is that real gold?
It is. It's real gold. And they've got them in a few states in America. I think they're coming here as well. Gold-backed currency. Because cash will not go away. We were going to make our own gold-backed cash. That's another thing I want to put out in Exemplar as well, because all the best ideas that promote sovereignty and freedom are going to be in one little directory, and anyone who wants to help me get it together that has better skill sets than I do, please let me know.
Now, you have here your studio.youtube.com channel. What channel is that's your YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel. It's in it also, I haven't really paid it much attention. I'm not a publisher person or a platform of any kind, but I put it there because it has some of the energy videos that I did, and as soon as I can release the other ones, I'll be putting it there. It's also got a little bit about the ITNJ and some of the trap when we went to visit the army in Wales, the Welsh cadets or whatever they're called, and tell them to protect us about these vaccines and from the WHO. They're the army. That's who they should be protecting, is the people. But we didn't get so traction, but it's not over yet. We're still building our ranks, so to speak.
What do you know about the new WHO treaty that they want to put into place where everybody has to give up their sovereignty to the WHO? And apparently that maybe is June 1st, or that's maybe coming to near where, they can take full tyrannical control over the world through the WHO.
Frankly, I don't think they'll do it. I can't think they'll do it. I don't think, no, they won't get everyone on it. They might get a few people that are ignorant and comply, or are coerced or paid into complying. But I think there's so many groups now that we don't even realize how large we are. If we get this directory together where all the little groups that are pockets of groups that are quite big now can all come together as well and work a lot more united and with a lot more structure behind them, I think they've got a big problem on their hands. They did too much too fast and too many people woke up. And now we just got to get the solutions out there and do them, act on them, join a group, get local. I can speak for England and the States a little bit and where to go. But everybody, this directory, it needs people in every country to start collecting all the organizations that are doing right action and sovereignty, and then link up with all these other groups in other countries and link up together with ones in the same country. That's how we unite, and that's how we come together, and they are shitting themselves if we get self-organized. That's their fear. The truth comes out and we get self-organized, game over.
You know who didn't sign on to the WHO treaty?
Oh, I did.
Well, I'll
Was it
tell you
Netherlands?
one. Well,
No?
there's a few places, but
Oh,
Slovakia was not signed on. 2 days later, the prime minister gets shot. And so, is it related? Is it unrelated? It's a little bit
absolutely.
suspect that, he decides not to sign on to the WHO treaty, and 2 days later some old man shoots him or whatever. So it's
It
really
happens.
bizarre.
That's their modus operandi. Who is it? One of the guys in Africa was talking out about the vaccine. He got taken out. You know, if you talk out against the narrative, you absolutely are risking your life. And thing is, though, when you know there is no death, there is no fear.
There's nothing to be afraid of, and that's what
Nothing
they
to be
want. The
afraid of.
fear of death is the illusion that keeps people from speaking up and standing out, and that it's better to die standing up for what you believe in than it is on your knees bent over, letting them do whatever, injecting whatever they want into you
And
and
if
your family.
absolutely, and if they could get their way, there are things that are a lot worse than death. There are lives that I would rather not live than be subject to, you know, under their control and their evil agenda. And you can't even imagine or think of the evilness, the depths they go to. The average person couldn't comprehend it. I can't even watch a horror movie myself, and this is so much worse. And it's not for everybody to go that deep into the rabbit hole. We're all different archetypes, different characters, but if we know it's going on, we've really got to stand up and help those people that are doing something about it. You know, if we can't stand on the front line, we need to like make them a cup of tea at least.
Now, there was this doctor who was from the UK who was on TV pushing the jabs, and his dad was a doctor, and then his dad ended up getting killed. He had a heart condition from the jab. He started looking into it, and now he's one of the biggest advocates, that's going. He was actually went to a Copenhagen court. His name is Asim Mayorta. Dr. Asim Mayorta. Have you heard about him? Because I heard a testimony in a Copenhagen court where he's now talking about he's on the side of this should never have been ruled out. And, it's amazing when there are people that can repent, that can do better, that want to be better, that do take the spell from under their eyes, and they ones that are deeply enrooted into the corruption seem to be some of the biggest lights that shine against it, especially having that type of credentials.
Yeah, I have heard of him, and amazing, but it also made me think about all. Can you imagine the mothers or the fathers that have forced that on each other or on their children, and their child has died or become autistic or incapacitated in some way? Because what I'm noticing is there's a lot of sick people around, and if they're not sick, there's a lot of carers around. A lot of people's time is being taken up caring for loved ones, whether it be vaxxed, injured, from toxins that they've been putting in their body for years, heavy metals, excess sugars, and all these horrible things that they put in our water. So unless we keep detoxing, we got to keep ourselves healthy. That's number one. If you want to help child trafficking, get healthy, because you're no good to anybody if you're not looking after yourself first. You're just not. So yeah.
Now, what's it like there in the UK since this last 4 years? Are people back to normal? Are people now more questioning? I know you're maybe running different circles than the normies, but what's it like overall in the UK? Are people pissed off, with what's happened?
I think they're at a stage where they don't want to talk about it. I think they're in shock, a lot of them. A lot of people have woken up, and it has made a shift. That's why this child trafficking and this is getting traction now. So I think, yes, a lot of people are either waking up, and I think a lot of people just don't have the time. They're so busy putting food on the table, looking after the kids, making sure the kids are having a good life and are happy, and they're playing with them in the garden, football and normal stuff. You know, it takes up time, and it's really hard to do both. Although, if you know about it and you don't do anything, it's like it's tacit consent. And these people, I know they're not consenting to it per se, and they can't do anything because we're in a debt-based fucking slavery system, which was why it was engineered in the first place. You know, they're just busy like a dog chasing its tail, trying to catch its tail the whole time, having fun, spinning wheels. So that I know a lot of people don't have the bandwidth, and if there was a directory, could just say, oh, look at that energy, you could get that, and in the meantime have a look at why we haven't got it, and you know, why it hasn't been done already, because that's a bit of a head spin, isn't it? We have it, they're saying they want it and save the planet and all the animals and everything, but where is it? We don't bring it out. It's a big red flag.
How much do you think ego is holding people back for them admitting that they were complicit, admitting that they maybe injected themselves with poison, or even worse, injected their kids with it? Like, how much do you think that ego, that, you know, that fear of them having to admit that they were wrong holds people back from waking up from the spell that they're under?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the silent ones. Ego can be a good thing. You need an ego to be able to get up and do something and have some self-esteem and be a bit more assertive. Maybe you need some ego, but ego about being wrong, yeah, people don't like to be incorrect. It's funny because one of I graduated an industrial design degree in 2016, and I went back just recently, and one of my lecturers, the green lecturer, we were always like this, and we're about the same age as well. I was a mature student, and I went to this final show with a friend of mine. Yeah, this is years after I've left, fairly recently, and she was there. And she came up to me and said, "I don't suppose you got the vaccination there?" And I said, "No, absolutely not." And she went, "Oh, well, I did, da, 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 da." And we were chatting a bit. And then she went off. And about 10 minutes later, she literally came running across the room to me and said, "You're wrong. You know you're wrong. You know that. You know you're wrong." And I went, "Okay, okay." It's just that said to me that she knows I'm right. And she's having a hard time looking herself in the mirror, and I mean, it's the liberal intellectuals that have spent their entire life studying something, getting paid, getting bigged up for it, getting patted on the back, you know, getting awards for all this fiction. And then what? Some little upstart carpenter comes along and says, "Nah, it's all lies." They're not going to like that. They're not going to like that's where the ego gets in the way. I was like, okay, but just look into it. I was saying at uni, you can run cars on water, Stanley Myers. And I was like, no, there's no calorific value in water. And I was like, it's made of hydrogen and oxygen. What burns? And also, who discovered that a particle is solid? Do you know? Nobody knows because nobody has, because particles are not solid. We're not solid. The floor you're standing on is not solid. This laptop is not solid. It's all moving. It's all energy. Everything is energy. And that's why our thoughts are as valid as this table. Just we can't see them. It's all energy and frequency. And that's part of the whole manifesting process that the CIA don't want us to know.
We're energetic beings, and the ether is what they don't even want to admit. They want to call it
periodic table.
Yeah. And they say even if you give someone a hug, you're not really giving them a hug, because there's a space in between you and them. The molecules, everything is bouncing, so there's always like a space
My
between
fingers
people.
aren't touching.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
That's a fascinating to think about.
It is. It really is.
Do you think that like the CIA is like the Catholic intelligence agency and ISIS is like the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service? And I think you guys got the MI6. I'm not sure what a good
They're
acronym
all in the
for.
same bucket.
They're all the
They all work
same.
together. They've all got their little secret handshakes and nods and codes and symbols. Yeah, I think they're all one of the same. It's like you get them paying for both sides of the war just to create war. You know, Israel and Hamas, one of the same. They need war because they get so much money from war and they get so many children from war, and they just can go in and do land grabs. It's bonus time for them, war. Why we comply and go and fight? I don't know. Well, I do know.
Do you
We
think
just
also a part of that is that the strong men who could oppose the tyranny, or the strong warriors, men and women, I don't want to disclude strong women warriors, the strong warriors of the tribe, of the peoples, they that could oppose tyranny get sucked into protecting their country, then they get injected with a whole bunch of drugs which makes them all crazy, and then they have to go kill themselves or other people, kill the other strong men. So it's a way for the tyranny to continue, because the people that could oppose it are now subject, all their rights taken away, injected, and then killed to keep those strong warriors from actually stopping this tyranny.
I absolutely. I think they're definitely targeting men and strong men at that. And at the moment, it's white men. You know, this white superior thing that's going around. They're definitely attacking. They're attacking everything that's sacred. You know, manhood, womanhood, childhood, everything that's really sacred. They're attacking, and strong men being a threat. Yeah, they'll weaken them with their vaccines. They've been putting saltpeter in the food of the militaries for years. Military is one of the worst places for MK Ultra mind control. And if one member of your family signs up for the military, that's your whole family signed up. If you listen to Chrissy Allen, her dad worked for the military, and her mum was a breeder, and she had like 11 sisters and a brother or something, and they formed a whole choir. But when one of their daughters was talking to a military guy, he just pulled out a file on them and showed her all about herself. He wanted her to play something. He wanted to go on a trip, which luckily she turned down. She really missed a silver bullet then, I tell you. But yeah, the whole family, they know about your whole family, and the whole family's part of the military if one member joins. So you might even be part of the military and you don't even know it.
What about the Operation Paperclip, where they supposedly the Nazis lost the war, but yet all of their scientists and soldiers get put into all these places like NASA, and the CIA is created from them, and it seems like, that the Nazis really didn't lose the war. Hitler maybe even went to Argentina and was part of the Antarctica, treaty. Or what's your thoughts on, Nazis? And look what's happening in the Ukraine now. Isn't that a bunch of Nazis that are, like real time Nazis that are being funded by, NATO and all the Western countries?
Yeah, the Second World War never ended, and this is the Third World War, and it's an invisible war. It's a gray war. It's not one where you know who your enemy is particularly. It's very insidious. But yeah, the war didn't end, and they did take all the technology, and the Nazis and wanted to perpetuate that agenda. Now, whether that agenda is a space force out from another planet that wants to co-opt this planet, I really don't know. But we are setting up space forces, and there are galactic wars apparently, but that's not a subject I can really speak to much. It's way out there.
I still don't know how much I actually believe in some of that narrative. I think that again takes people away from the bad guys that are actually doing the things here. And, same with the old demon, same with, I know that Edward said it's, these aren't human, but there are humans that are pulling the strings here. And whether there something is behind them, you stop the ones pulling the strings here, then you cut that tie to whatever else is, affecting this earth. And to feel that, these, enemies, or these people that we're up against are, supernatural, to think that they're alien, to think that they're demons, to think that they're anything but the actual humans that are following the orders, if so, makes it for a lot of people feel like it's unwinnable. What can I do? How can I do anything against these aliens or these supernatural beings?
Well, it's get healthy and unite. It always boils down to that. Get as healthy as you can, detox, get strong. Like you say, they're trying to pick off all our strong men for a reason. And find groups, and there are more of us. And I don't care if they're aliens or soulless reptiles or whatever they are. Planet Earth is a, a phenomenal planet. It's a beautiful green and wondrous place. And she's certainly worth, I mean, we are her as much as we are a tree or a bird or anything that depends on her for survival. And she's worth fighting for. Well, not even fighting for, she's worth standing up for, and against tyranny and against these people in whatever form they take. Get knowledge, learn true law, learn how you've been usurped, how you've been tricked, with your straw man and your dead fiction, how to step out of the dead fiction. And often you're talking to people that think you're crazy. They don't know what you're on about, people in uniform. But you need to educate them as well. And that's been a lot of the problem with the energy as well. The top CEOs of energy companies, you have to convince them that this energy is real and explain to them the new technology and the whole genre, the whole process. And that's why this energy is getting through now, is because people at the top, CEOs, are getting it. And it's something that might have to come in under the radar initially because of the whole economic collapse, they say, but it's not economic growth, because the economy, the debt-based slavery system will collapse for sure, but what will be birthed from it will be so much more purer and more and better for humanity.
Yeah, I don't know where you feel about this, but I'm almost up to here with them telling us humanity can't accept it. We have to drip feed. Everything will go crazy. Why don't they just do full disclosure? Like, if, there's enough people, all of us are trying. Why don't, if there are, powers that be that are, why can't they just full disclose what is going on? Because,
You're talking about the
you know,
EBS.
yeah, but everything, anything and everything, right?
The
If
emergency
there's,
broadcast system that's supposed to come out and spout it all out.
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard they're going to have lockdowns where everyone's going to be at home and they're going to tell everyone what's been going on. But I think we are the emergency broadcast system. I think Twitter is much, or X, as much as I know Elon's not, totally on board. He compromised in some way. I think they are. Maybe that is the platform where it all happens. Maybe it is happening already, and it's not about them doing anything. It's about us. Speak is why I'm here. I can't. You can probably tell I'm a professional layperson speaking today.
you're doing great.
So we are the voice. We are the ones that have to go out and find out and share it on channels like yours and with friends and families, and just as much as we can, and discuss it and learn and grow and not get triggered when, somebody says something we don't agree with. So I can have a conversation with someone and they turn around to me and say, "You just disagree with everything I say." And I was like, "Yeah." And it annoyed her, but it doesn't annoy me that means you disagree with everything I'm saying, but that's okay. So they don't have a rationality behind it, which makes them more emotional, which maybe will be the seeds for them thinking further. You never know. You
Well,
never
when
know
you
the little seeds you're leaving along your trail. Just make sure they're good ones.
Yeah, and when you challenge someone's belief, that means they don't actually know. And when you challenge their belief system, people have that Stockholm syndrome. Well, they'll just
Yeah.
have to, they have to be right and protect their captors, protect the system that keeps us enslaved.
Absolutely, a lot of Stockholm syndrome going on for these people that are abusing us. I mean, I've been in a relationship with survivors, and I learnt a lot. I'd just say that I learnt a lot, and it put me in good stead for what was to come. Whatever that happens to you, you always learn something. That's always a takeaway if you're open to it.
100%. So, what else could you tell us that you've been, learning about with maybe the child trafficking stuff? Anything else that you think that we need to talk about here today?
Um, apart from the fact that we're just electromagnetic beings, nothing is solid. It's all about frequency and vibration. So focusing on your frequency and detoxing, eating high frequency, consuming high frequency conversations like this and high frequency food and thoughts will all help manifest sovereignty into our future and for our posterity. Because you just look at the kids now and oh my God, they're just so beautiful. The little children that are coming out now, some of them. I mean, I've got grandkids and you drop everything for them, and if we can't do that, then why are we even doing what we're doing? It has to make a difference and get out there. And it takes all of us, every single one of us, no matter how small we are or we think we are, or how it's this thing of learned helplessness that's going around and victim mentality. Snap out of it. So if you're thinking learned helplessness, what can I do? Think I can do something. Try and rephrase into the positive. Well, I can do this and I can do that. Not what can I do? It's like I can do anything I want. Like, where do I start? Approach it with that excitement and who can I join and who am I going to meet on my journey and make it an amazing experience. It's going to be full of ups and downs, just like a heartbeat.
Are you optimistic then about, the near future? Or do you think there's going to be a lot more, chaos and turmoil before we get to, the other side?
Depends how fast people stand up. People stand up tomorrow and just say, no, stop paying your taxes. It's over. If people piddle around in fear and making excuses for forevermore, then it'll tiptoe along a little slower, but it's definitely happening with the quantum legacy bank coming out, and there's something called a beep card, which is it's all these things, this gold backed note. There's many systems coming into place that are going to make us not dependent upon their system anymore. We are building our own system. Go and help someone that's doing that. I basically gate crashed Sasha Stone's life and went traveling with him. It just happened so fast and so organically. And then I did that with someone else, and I learned a lot about the energy sector and went on business meetings around New York and all around America and Mexico. I learned so much by just following my heart and letting the universe know this is what I want to know. I wasn't manifesting money or I sold my house and everything. I just wanted to knowledge is powerful. Like, if you don't know law, there is no law. If you don't know health, you're freaking unhealthy. If you don't know you're being lied to, you're going to have like a map that's upside down and left is right and right is left. You're never going to get there. If you're not going to have the right frequency, you're going to be miserable all your life. and targeted, you know, with all these low energy entities. If you want a nice earth, grow flowers, grow plants, feed the bees, learn about your nature. You know, people don't learn in school the names of trees in their local area. That's crazy. Just feast on information, on lovely information to make the world a better place.
What do you think about our name being complicit? You know, our birth certificate name. You know, that way comes here to our shows and says, we lose our name. You know, we lose the complicity to the system, and if everybody just, you know, didn't use that corporate fictional birthright name, that, you know, they couldn't track us, they couldn't trace us, they couldn't
Yeah,
do
you
all the
couldn't
stuff that they
travel
want.
either. You know, there's a load of things you couldn't do without it. But I will tell you a little story. I got stopped by the police a few years ago. And they're plain clothes, screeched round the corner, stop. What are you doing? I was like, I was having lunch. So it's like, I was taking a walk, you know, I'm just taking a walk. And they said, what's your name? And I said, I'm not telling you. And they said, well, you look familiar. And I was just chuckling to myself, and I said, I do porn. And it was a very short conversation after that, and they got in their car and drove off, and I walked along my merry way. But have fun with them when you can, because they're just a living man in a costume acting as a dead fiction. But these were plain clothes, so they weren't even in their costume. But it just seemed surreal. It's like, who are you to be just stopping me on the street on a sunny day to ask me questions? I don't even know you, you know? My mum told me not to speak to strangers. Go away.
So buzz off.
Just go away. Where's the victim? That's what you got to ask yourself. If there's a crime, officer, where's the victim? I'll go and apologize. Like,
So was there anything else that you wanted to share before we wrap this up here today?
I know. I think I've nattered along long enough, but thank you very much for your time and everyone else is here listening, and for your comments, which I can't wait to read. And if somebody wants to contact me about the quantum bank, about the law stuff, about meeting up in groups, about helping with Exemplar Earth, just send me an email, please, and I'll either direct you off to the right person in that section, or I'll grab you and we can hopefully work together on expanding the directory.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that you're doing for humanity. Thanks again for coming here and sharing, you know, your thoughts here on the missing link. May the source be with you and protection around you during this pivotal time in history. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thanks, everybody, for all your likes, comments, hearts, shares, and stars. We appreciate all of your love and support, however that may be. You know, knowledge is power. The more knowledge we all have collectively, the less power they have over us. So keep on sharing out, keep on standing up, keep on speaking out. And, you know, just better to, you know, die standing than it is to, you know, to live standing, die standing than it would be on your knees. So, you know, for
No
one
fear.
love, no fear. Yeah.
Pure love,
Fear.
strength, and unity. That's it. End of.
For one love, one heart, one life. Namaste, everyone. And if ever they ask you to put on a breathing inhibitor again, make sure you tell them no maske. Okay, bye, Debbie. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Lots of love.